Balancing public safety and individual rights, the Jacobson versus Massachusetts Precedent. The discovery of the smallpox vaccine in 1796 for Massachusetts raised an important question. Should the state enforce vaccination for the community's benefit, or do citizens have the right to personal freedom and liberty? Pastor Jacobson of Massachusetts argued that the vaccination law violated the federal constitution, giving him the right to refuse the vaccine. Despite this controversy, the vaccination provided hope for combating future diseases, established a new law, and laid the groundwork for the inoculation process. Smallpox originated roughly 10,000 years ago in northern Africa, spreading through the air, attacking almost the entire body. However, the first known case was found in an Egyptian pharaoh named Ramses V, who lived roughly 3,000 years ago. The disease quickly spread across the entire world through trade routes. Subsequently, 1 in every 3 people infected died, with the survivors suffering from significant disabilities. These circumstances established a sense of fear and loss within many. People then started to believe that the gods had cursed smallpox upon them, but that they also had the ability to cure them. So, instead of the medical practices in today's world, everyone prayed to their gods to heal them. Finally, in the mid 1500s, a method called variolation was established. It was a process in which they took the scabs off the infected, fried them, ground them, and inhaled them through a straw up their nose. And through shared letters between John and Abigail Adams in July of 1776, it is shown that even their kids used this method. Although variolation made it impossible to contract smallpox a second time, this technique was not without flaws, as it often resulted in severe illness and many individuals suffered from enduring adverse effects on their health. So, when a man named Edward Jenner encountered some milkmaids, everything changed. You see, these milkmaids were naturally immune to smallpox without undergoing variolation. Jenner realized that they had obtained a bovine disease known as cowpox, which, similar to variolation, prevented them from getting smallpox again, but with hardly any side effects except for minimal scarring on the hand. Jenner then validated his hypothesis by inoculating a boy named James Phipps with cowpox. He used fluid from a milkmaid's blister, introduced it into the boy's arm, and after exposure to smallpox a month later, James did not develop any symptoms. However, the only way they could end the virus was if everyone got the vaccine. Thus, the discovery of this vaccination changed everything. In 1901, Massachusetts faced an extreme smallpox outbreak, causing widespread fear and panic. Recognizing the highly contagious and deadly nature of smallpox, the Massachusetts government mandated vaccinations in order to halt the spread of disease. After people weren't following this mandate, the government decided to charge $5 to everyone who didn't take it, which would be roughly $150 today. However, in 1902, a pastor named Henning Jacobson from Cambridge, Mass. Still refused to comply and instead paid the fine. It was then, in 1905, where the Jacobson versus Massachusetts case was established. Jacobson argued that the state's vaccine mandate violated his personal liberty, and that he had experienced traumatic effects from vaccination in the past, as not everyone reacted to vaccines the same way. To him, forcing someone to vaccinate was a form of government overreach, infringing on the rights of individuals to control what happens to their own bodies. On the other side, Massachusetts declared that during public health crisis, the state was responsible to protect its citizens from the spread of dangerous diseases like smallpox. Ultimately, the court ruled in favor of Massachusetts. They explained that individual liberty could be restricted when necessary to protect the public's health and safety. Chief Justice John Marshall wrote, "Real liberty for all cannot exist under the operation of a principle which recognizes the right of each individual person to use his own, regardless of injury that may be done to others." Nonetheless, Jacobson was not thrilled with the outcome, so, yet again, he appeared in court, but this time, the Supreme Court. Jacobson was focused on how this ruling violated the 14th Amendment rights, stating, Nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due processes of law, nor deny any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. But, once again, in a 7-2 ratio, the Supreme Court sided with Massachusetts and overrode the amendment in protection for citizens, because those vaccinated literally endangered everyone else. This now means that states can use their police power in the name of public safety. Following the new ruling, the World Health Organization launched a smallpox eradication program in 1959, aiming to eliminate the disease through widespread vaccination campaigns. Unfortunately, due to insufficient funding, a shortage of healthcare workers, limited global commitment, and other challenges, the initial efforts did not succeed. In 1967, the intensified eradication program revitalized efforts against smallpox. This marked a pivotal shift from mass vaccination to a strategy based on surveillance and containment. Innovations like the beef action needles were introduced, fostering global cooperation. This coordinated effort culminated in the world being declared officially free of smallpox May 8, 1980. The Jacobson versus Massachusetts decision did more than just settle a case. It established a new legal foundation for the public health crisis. This affirmed the right of states to enforce mandatory vaccinations, enabling them to pass laws aimed at stopping the spread of infectious diseases. Not only did this ruling help end the smallpox epidemic, but it also set the precedent for handling future outbreaks. It provided health officials with the legal backing they needed to enforce public health measures for the community's sake, granting governments power to act swiftly in times of crisis. In the long term, the Jacobson decision paved the way for inoculation to become a global tool in combating disease, not only impacting smallpox, but also encouraging widespread vaccination campaigns for diseases like polio, measles, and most recently, COVID 19. This ruling fostered hope that society could conquer diseases as they had with smallpox, using vaccination to protect against devastating epidemics. Today, the eradication of smallpox and the court ruling remain cornerstones in the ongoing fight against health threats, influencing public health policies and bolstering trust in the preventative power of vaccination.
Did the precedent created from this case provide you with enough flexibility to safeguard the American public during COVID-19?
Well, one of the most important things to learn about the case is it applied only to states, not to the federal government. For example, because we regulate access to the federal civil service, we could require federal employees to get their vaccinations. We could require military employees to get their vaccine, and we did.
What threshold needs to be met to implement mandatory vaccinations?
Well, the court considered several cases with respect to vaccination requirements, and they did exempt those with legitimate religious convictions against vaccinations. So in the military, particularly, you had to make the case that was very, an established principle in your religion, and you would be violating it. In some cases, they said no, because no formal religious doctrine you're pointing to. It's just you claim this, and the requirement was imposed.
So, how did the eradication of smallpox impact the people's perception of the government?
I think compelling reasons for the court to say yes, you can do it, is that smallpox was a very virulent, deadly disease that was killing millions across the globe.
Millions, yeah.
And it was one of the first times that a vaccine essentially could stop a disease. I think the courts, they were looking at the Constitution, of course, but I think they were also thinking, this is tremendous progress scientifically, that the state does have the responsibility to protect the public welfare. And if this is not done, you could see a complete breakdown in society because of this illness. Very few, if any, people I could think about that were going around saying, "Oh, don't get that vaccine," etc. In fact, it was, "I want it. I want it now." Vaccine came out, and the results were such as they saw a significant decrease in COVID, not 100% decrease, but a significant decrease. So the efficacy, as they say, of the vaccine